Hi, this is Betty Plus Books, and today I'm going to be doing the Halloween movie book tag made by Robin from Paperbacks and Planners. I love her channel, and so I'm really excited to do this tag made by her. Let's get started. The first prompt is Halloweentown, which is pick a book with a magical setting. This is the majority of my shelf, so the problem is not going to be finding something, it's going to be picking something. So for this, I'm going to pick Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Coulthurst. This came out a few years ago and was pretty hyped up on BookTube, and it deserves it. I don't read a lot of romance, but when I do, it's women loving women romance, and this was a great example of something that I like. It's both emotional and adventurous and takes place in a magical world. Next we have the prompt The Sanderson Sisters, a book with a revenge plot. I don't know if I've read any books that are like exclusively the whole plot is revenge plot, so I'm going to try and pick something that I believe has at least one subplot that is kind of a revenge plot in it. For this, I'm picking The Burning God by Kuang, which I'm currently reading. In this book, our main character, Rin, commits some truly heinous acts against many people out of the name of revenge. The next prompt is The Haunted Mansion, which is a if you like this, try this prompt. So for this, I'm going to say if you liked Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and I feel like I'm copying Robin because she also started with this book as a if you like this. But if you did like Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, I would give Spirit Legacy by E.E. Holmes a shot. This is about two sisters that can see ghosts, and for one of them, they haven't really been led through how to deal with this. So one of those characters has a similar backstory as Alex does in Ninth House, but this is the first book in a trilogy that extends into a 5-book series. I feel like it does a lot of things that Ninth House tries to do, but it doesn't rush them as hard, so it ends up being a little bit more coherent and maybe a little bit slower, but less confusing than I feel like Ninth House was in terms of the jumping around plot line. The next prompt is The Addams Family. Pick a book with loads of family drama. I don't have a lot of books that actually feature families on my shelves. It's a lot of like found family tropes because those are some of my favorite. But what I do have is Sean McGuire's Encrypted series. This is actually the second book in the series. I have the first one loaned out to a friend. That first book is Discount Armageddon. In this series, we have a family that descended from essentially cryptid hunters or monster hunters, but over time they split apart from the main family because they have interacted with a lot of these monsters or cryptids and found that like at their core, they're not necessarily human-like entirely in their thinking, but in terms of like their level of sentience, their level of intelligence, a lot of times their capacity for compassion, many of them match the level of humans, and so this family does not feel right continuing to hunt them and goes the opposite way and starts protecting them. So this is partially family drama in that some of the siblings within the family don't get along fully well and they're a little bit irritated with each other, but it's also very dramatic that like this split off section of the family is like fighting for the opposite side of this cause of like saving the cryptids rather than attacking the cryptids, which their family of origin wanted to do and was their purpose in life. Next we have Twitches, a book that features two sisters. And for this I'm picking something I haven't really heard of on BookTube before, and that is The Core of the Sun by Johanna Sinisalo. When I read this, I thought it was really close in a lot of its themes to Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. As you can tell by the cover, the expectation of women in this society is to like get married and have children and be a good housekeeper, but this woman does not want to do that. And one of the ways she rebels is by like trying to make the hottest chili pepper in the world. If I remember correctly, there's something illegal about things being too spicy. It's like everything must be bland or something like that. But in this book, our main character has a sister who's like a lot more on the traditional path. I feel like there's some kind of bureaucratic institution in this that helps move women to households and to having babies in a very like formalized way. And I think her sister like gets into that and then something bad happens and she has to go like try and help her or something. I don't remember the details, but I liked this a lot when I read it. I thought it was super interesting and also a little weird. Next we have Practical Magic, a book featuring a curse. So for this, I'm going to recommend the basically entirety of the October Day series. There are many times throughout the series where the characters fall under various curses. Like there's a big plot line about like the Selkies and how they're essentially under a curse. There are a bunch of times where characters just like have things happen to them that they have to like go and talk to the person who caused it to get rid of them, which feels very much like a curse. I don't know if the language used is usually they were cursed, but many of the things in the series qualify as curses in my opinion. Our next prompt is Casper, pick a book on your TBR that is haunting you. For this, I have The Quincunx by Charles Palliser. I bought it at a used bookstore at one point because one of the YouTubers I watched, Sophie Carlin, I don't remember if she actually read it and recommended it or if she just had it on her TBR. And I feel like based on some of the descriptions I've read of the book, I would like it, but it's just so intimidating. This is a very thick book. It's nearly 800 pages long. There's nothing drawing me in other than the idea that it might be kind of a mystery puzzle type story, and those I tend to really like. So the design of this cover reminds me of some of the aspects of the Supernatural Enhancements and its cover, and I really love this book. So that's making me like avoid unhauling this because maybe I will love it and maybe it will be like the Supernatural Enhancements, but like it's way more of an investment than the Supernatural Enhancements. Not only is it more than twice as long, but the text in the Supernatural Enhancements is like normal sized and there's big gaps in the pages and all of that. And in the Quincunx, it's really tiny, and so it's gonna be way harder to get through, and I keep refusing to put this on my I must read this soon list because it's such a commitment that I'm like, I have to be in the mood for this before I get to it, or I'm just gonna be mad about reading it the whole time and it's gonna put me into a reading slump. And so yeah, this book is haunting me. The next prompt is Clue, a twist that you didn't see coming. The stupid thing is I love books with twists, but a lot of times I can't remember what the twist was or whether a book that I've already read even had a twist, unless it's explicitly a thriller and therefore obviously has some kind of twist in there somewhere. I am really bad at seeing twists coming, so almost every book with a twist, I'm not going to have seen it coming. I'm going to be totally surprised by it, and so I'm just so easy to please when it comes to thrillers. What's even considered a twist? Is it just something surprising, something that like is supposed to be unexpected, or is there like a specific qualification for the kinds of like surprising, unexpected things that qualify as a twist? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that there's a huge twist in The Lies of Locke Lamora, and there's a part in this book that I don't even remember when it happens. I haven't reread it and it's been like a few years since I read it the first time, but there was a heart-wrenching twist in this book which just made me cry. Next we have Beetlejuice, pick a book featuring the undead. For this I'm clearly just trying to show off every series in my Seanan McGuire shelf because I'm picking Feed by Mira Grant, which is one of Seanan McGuire's pen names. This is the first book in the Newsflash series. I have books 2 and 3 right here. So this is a book about two siblings who are essentially freelance reporters in the zombie apocalypse. And it's really interesting because there's a lot of survivalism plots in here, but there's also a lot of like political plots and intrigue, and they're not really participating in the politics. They're more like seeing the politics from the outside and trying to uncover some of the corruption and things within. So this is really one of the only zombie books that I've read, and when I think like the undead, I think more zombies than ghosts in my opinion, so this is why I picked this, but I also really like it. The next prompt is Tim Burton, a book, author, or series you associate with Halloween. So for this I'm going to go with Shirley Jackson. Specifically, We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. I've read it like 2 years running around Halloween, and so that just like gives me Halloween vibes. I do really like We Have Always Lived in the Castle, even though I still don't really understand 2 reads in what all is going on. So I need someone smarter than me to explain that to me, please. The next prompt is Coraline, a middle grade story. Now I haven't read middle grade in a long time. I don't have anything middle grade on my shelves, but the most recent middle grade series that I read was Alcatraz and the Evil Librarians. This is by Brandon Sanderson. One of my friends recommended it to me, and it was like kind of fun and lighthearted. It was goofy. It wasn't quite my style. I tend to like Sanderson's adult work much better, but I think that you might like this if you like middle grade and more lighthearted, goofy stuff. So next we have The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is pick a book that blends genres. For this, the only one I could think of was All the Birds in the Sky by Charlie Jane Anders. So this blends fantasy and sci-fi and also has a fairly contemporary feel. I feel like it leans a little more towards the fantasy side than the sci-fi side. Like I feel like it's kind of soft sci-fi, but not like super soft sci-fi, if that makes any sense. I rated this 5 stars when I finished it, but I've kind of faded in my enthusiasm since. I still think it's a really good book and it hit the spot for my mood, but it's not holding up very well for me in terms of nostalgia, but I don't think that's an awful thing. It's great, it's just not sticking with me. That's it for this Halloween movie book tag. Thank you so much to Robin for making this tag. I really wanted to get one more Halloween-y video out before the end of the month, so this was absolutely perfect timing. So I realized I have to ease off a little bit on how many people I tag, because if I tag everyone I can in every video, I will have no one left different to tag when I'm doing my next tag video. So I'm gonna tag only 3 people this time, as is traditional. The first is Lyra Silverwolf, and she has a very new YouTube channel. She's been on for about 2 weeks, but she just always seems so happy and bubbly and cute, and I want to see her do this tag. The next is Julie Janice Books. Her YouTube channel's been around for about the same amount of time as mine, and we have about the same number of subscribers. I think she's really cool and deserves a lot more subs than she currently has. She reads a lot more YA than I do, so I'm hoping that she'll be able to have some better recommendations for the middle grade prompt than I did. And last, I'd like to tag If Only for a Page. I might be punching up a little bit above my class here. She's had a channel for quite a while. I love the variety of videos she has. She has all of the traditional TBRs and stuff, but she does a lot of like the discussions about reading in BookTube that I really enjoy making on my channel as well, so I encourage you to check her out. So that's it for this tag. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking on the subscription box. I put out videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Everything from TBRs to tags to just bookish discussions. So I'd love to see you here in the future. If you do subscribe, please let me know in the comments, especially if you have a BookTube channel. I would love to see it because I figure if you're subscribing to me, we might have similar tastes in books and I could get some great recommendations from you. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy reading. My cats keep screaming outside and insisting that they're dying. It's probably close to lunchtime.